Hello, hello. Let's get the morning going. Yes, you beautiful stars. Ow. Sorry, I just hurt myself. That's all right. Good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Normally, this is Toth Revealed, but I have gone back to what I started a very long time ago with Hermetics. I do understand Hermetics and Toth and all of the jazz in between. So everyone knows, as I babble, as people are coming through, I am trying desperately to get back to my normal schedule, which is Wednesday, 2 p.m., Edgar Casey Life Skills Study, and which is going to come up a little bit today from what was said on Wednesday. And my live on Fridays at 11 a.m. and my live on Sundays. Whoa. Sorry, I pulled cards. And I guess those two want to come out today. And then my live on Sundays, which are usually weekly Akashic messages for the collective. I am trying desperately to get back to my schedule. But I do know, I confirmed just now this morning, that I will be having to go up to Illinois again. That's like a long drive for me. To help out with some stuff that's needed there around the beginning of June. So I might have to do some shorts. I'm not sure what's going to be going on. I'm trying desperately to be with you all. As far as my patrons are concerned, you're getting the last section of your Moon Manifesting class today, and we're at a very long, extensive email as to the classes that will be in May and going further. So, hi everybody, you beautiful stars. I know, if I'm gone for a while, it's hard for everybody to get back on track. I am here. Good morning, Miss Shelley. Good morning, Miss Lori. I see you. Okay, Lori. Excellent, honey. Lori just said that she's helping friends move. That is why I had to go back to Illinois in the beginning of June as well. So we all just are compassionate and patient with each other and grace, all sorts of things. My bestie forever and ever, since I was about 12 years old, so we got some years going on here, is going through a divorce and has to get out of the house. And so I'm going to be going up there to help her get out of the house and get the new place all nice and good for the kids, right? That's what you do for your besties. So I understand, Miss Lori. I do. I get it. So I am going to try to be putting my schedule. I don't know. It's going into summer. The energies are what they are. I am going to contact Alex again to try to see if I can record with him in May about the energies of like definitely August and September, because it's nice to piggyback off with people. Yeah, no heavy lifting and stuff. Yeah, I know, especially. And for those who don't know, I do communicate with those that are in the chat while I do this. Until I kind of get into the groove, and then the chat just kind of does its thing. It had been 2 weeks since I was here on my Friday mornings, and so I tried to re-listen to myself, which I don't normally do, because I was like, what did I say? What was happening? Okay, correspondence, cool. Where did I, what was going on? And I love you all dearly, because I was in rare form the Friday, apparently before the event, or apparently before my, Lori just said she's driving the 26-foot haul. That's wonderful, Lori. Lori used to drive. She was a truck driver. So that's nice to have that experience again, Lori. That's very nice. Good. That's great. So I try listening to myself, and I love all of you dearly that tend to in the comments be like, yeah, I listened to this 3 times, because yeah, I'm noticing, yeah, who knows what's going to come out of my mouth. Who knows what's going to come out of my mouth? But you know what? It's all a good time here. We have fun. We talk about a bunch of different stuff, apparently, a bunch of different stuff, and you know, I do have to say, as I was kind of trying to re-listen, you know, not to be boastful, because of course I'm not, but when I am kind of just going off on rants, I'm realizing it does kind of help with my credibility, because I do know what I'm talking about. It might just come out in all sorts of different directions, in all sorts of different ways. So I understand why some people might have to listen to things a few times. Yes, Miss Lori, have a lovely weekend. Do no heavy lifting. I'm so happy you get to drive for a moment. That makes my heart feel good, because I understand. I do understand. So be safe. Be just be at peace. Just be at peace. My little Libra. I know what the Akashic said to you. By the way, the collective message from the Akashic is out. And then the Zodiac one for everyone, it's already gone to my patrons, because everything usually goes to my patrons first. The Zodiac signs I'll release on this Saturday for everybody. Yes, we have a good time. We have a very good time. So, thank you all for being there Wednesday with Edgar Casey Life Skills. I am really enjoying that. I'm going to tell you guys, because my husband reminded me. This is why, you know, you got to have people in your life, because I'll forget everything. I was talking to him about it. I was like, I think that's turned out real well, and I think I really love doing the Edgar Casey stuff. And he said, Courtney, you remember years ago, that's what they told you to do. That I was actually supposed to start this whole YouTube thing or all this stuff to actually talk about Edgar Casey. And I went, what? Because I don't remember. And he was like, yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago. That's what they told you to do, was to talk about Edgar Casey. And of course he jogged my memory, and I went, oh my goodness, you're right. You're right, Bradley. Oh, good thing that you have a memory. And it's a lovely time, I mean, to discuss that stuff. The reason I'm bringing that up is not to just, pitch the Edgar Casey stuff, because it's a good time. That's a lot of good time. Is also this past Wednesday, I talked about the similarities, right? But I also mentioned in there about my gifts. Because, a lot of a lot of kids, when they're born, they show signs of multiple different gifts. They do. It might be more like mediumship. Some it might be more like sight. They're seeing all the elementals. They're seeing stuff. Some it might be more clairvoyant. It might be telepathy, right? For certain kids, it's a whole mix of all of them. It's like, whoa, you came out as a package deal. And then over time, depending if things are fostered and cared for and developed, they can pick and choose which ones to really develop, or many times it's squashed, very much squashed. And so we've been discussing that, and I kind of talked more about my gifts on this past Wednesday with Edgar Casey. What I want people to know, and it is apropos to what we're going to be talking about today with correspondence, as far as we're getting more into the mental planes, okay, today. I have gift of sight. That's why I can do what I do. I go to the Akashic, I can see, I can this and that. But as I was talking on Wednesday, it was not my first. It's not my prominent gift. My prominent gift is telepathy, which I had to become very emotionally mature and whatnot, and I learned a lot in my life as to why, and how to care for that gift. But my secondary was sight. Do know that I believe all humans can develop gifts from telepathy, sight, clairvoyance, whatever it may be. I do believe all humans can do that because that's what I ended up doing as a child. I've mentioned it before that my father, not knowing as a child, was running me through training for remote viewing. I didn't know that's what was happening. But looking back on it, oh, that's what he was doing. Gift of sight. He was doing that. He was training me in that way. I was training myself. My family, we were big poker players growing up. I mean, I was getting taught poker by the time I was like 5 or 6, so I could sit around the tables and play. By the time I was 8, I was taught Hold'em. Well, unfortunately, I really enjoyed practicing with cards, being able to, not to be able to read them, but also see them. And by the time I was 10 years old, every day in the summer, I was practicing. I was practicing my sight with cards. Every day. It's what I did when it was too hot outside, and I became a very good, and then of course, if I had the gift of telepathy, when I was not a decent person, that's how I paid my rent in college. If you see where I'm going with that. I'm a good person now. I'm a good person now. So all these gifts, like I said, that's my secondary, but I had to, lots and lots of training, lots and lots of practicing, from using decks of cards to Dad running me through remote viewing exercises to a lot of meditation to being raised knowing about Edgar Cayce all the time. That stuff was talked about to me all the time. So I do believe. Oh, nice, Shelly. Shelly said her family played poker too. Yeah, for us, it was poker and Michigan rummy. But a lot of poker. A lot of poker. And they had no problem teaching a child. It's so different, the generations, you know. They had no problem with, you know, a 6-year-old sitting around a poker table. Penny poker, you know. They had no problem with it. So I do know gifts can be developed, and we're going to be starting with my patrons, which is either $5 or $8 if you can, you know, if 5 is what you can handle, then the ones that can handle 8 kind of make up the difference, right? We are going to be starting a project of developing telepathy skills along with learning how to manifest through things all through the summer. And it's going to be a nice, slow, steady development, because that's how you get things done, instead of a wham bam, you know, a nice slow development. So consider, Patreon link is in the about section if I don't get to doing the description here, and consider joining us, because that's going to be starting. It's our summer project, right? And we can have compassion, grace, and be working towards it while everybody's schedules are kind of a bit different and whatnot. But today, as we get into this Hermetics, do know I truly believe abilities can definitely be taught, developed, practice. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you beautiful stars, you have no idea how much I practice through meditation and all various ways for the gift of sight. growing up because it wasn't squashed in my family. And then in my later years, as I couldn't handle my actual gift, as I talked about with Edgar Casey stuff, I shut it all down. I shut it all down with a lot of wild behaviors, lots of masculine kind of energy, shut it all down to then reopen myself, you know, in my mid 20s again. When I understood more, I had more guidance and more emotional maturity to understand, you know, the when, where, and why. So, and that's also, I do want to point out there too, um, like I've said with the Akashic, guys, I took 4 years of training to do that. 4 years of, I think for 4 years, 4 times a week, I was working towards going to the Akashic and communicating that way and sight that way. 4 years. So nothing is overnight. The Hermetic stuff, I started reading this stuff, I think by the age of, I don't know, 21, 22. You know, but it was always kind of available around the house growing up. I got lots of years. I got lots of years. We don't need to talk about how many years because I'm kind of at that age now that's like, whoa, that was how long ago? That was how long ago? That it takes time. Everything is going to take time for people. So when stuff just kind of spills out of my mouth, when I go into the Hermetics, when I go into Thoth, when I start going into other material, which I will, it took me time. It's not like I just, you know, I did my due diligence, always, of studying and learning and experiencing. Remember, knowledge plus experience equals understanding. And the more we do that sequence, knowledge plus experience, that equals understanding, the more time we do that is the depth or height of our understanding, which is our wisdom. So I got years of doing this stuff. I'm not a babe to any of it. But I did put the work in. I literally put the work in. Nothing was just given to me. Well, my telepathy was, but that's... I also had to put the work in there to understand a lot of things. So, all right, with that being said, and there's reasons why I bring it up, because we're going into... Oh, well, Miss Chloe, do your thing, girl. Miss Chloe said, I'm here, but I'm trying to get my crystals, and there's a bunch of good stuff going on. So, Chloe, do what you gotta do, sister. I'm all about it. Do what you gotta do. You can catch me now. You can catch me on the flip side. You can catch me whenever you need to catch me. That's how I roll. So, I'm gonna show the cards that came up. And I just want to speak again briefly on, my schedule. I'm trying to get back to it, but it might just be whenever I can, because the beginning of the summer is looking a bit chaotic, as it is for most people. There was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember now. But that's okay. We got 2 cards today, folks. 2 cards. 2 cards. It must be, Chloe's going through, I think, like a flash sale right now on crystals, so do your thing, sister. Just go to it. And yeah, tell Shelly where you're at. Guys, if you need to do a flash sale on crystals, um, you can. Oh, you don't have the site. Well, oh, it'll happen. And happy Friday, everybody. Yay, it's Friday. We got number 41, Synergy. I don't think this card has ever come out. Synergy. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. So we all really know what this word kind of means, because especially it became popular in, work environments. Synergy, co-creation, new. I will tell you, before this deck, I did not know it was actually a frequency. I'm not going to lie there. I did not know that. That synergy, coming together and being open and allowing all sorts of new stuff amongst each other. Look at all those connecting bubbles. I love it. I did not know that that was a frequency, and it is. And look at that's amazing. That is new. That is working together to create. I actually love synergy. Hard for people. I'm realizing there's a lot of people out there that are still shy or timid or don't like or don't understand teamwork. Even if they say they do. Even if they say they do. And I don't, and there's no judgment. Because for more time that I've lived than not, I didn't understand teamwork. I never played team sports. I didn't like being a part of any teams. I never liked doing group projects. Like, oh, it was so horrible. So I never understood. I mean, I was very much a lone wolf. I lived alone for many years. That it wasn't until somewhere in my 30s that I was like, oh, that teamwork thing. Teamwork. Yeah, a lot of people, it's very difficult. And a lot of my friends are still lone wolves. And it's like, teamwork, guys. I think because of the pressure that is normally involved in it. And also the not understanding of how that's going to operate and how, and rather just get it done by ourselves, we also, most people, if we're going to fail, we would rather fail on our own terms, and, all sorts of things go into it. But, with New Earth Energy Market, the tagline to that is teamwork to usher in the new earth. And the thing is, the collective is a mix of all individualities, individual beings, as we talked about last week with the Hermetics, the all of correspondence, that there is no separation. So we are basically doing teamwork and not being conscious of it. It was very apparent to me, especially during the event, that there's a lot of people that still don't understand that their actions affect others. That is a very big, hard lesson to learn. I had to learn it when I was like 25 or so. And it rocked my world, because I never thought it did. I never thought that my decisions, my actions really affected anybody other than me. And then when I had to look at it and really look at it, Ooh, doggy. Our actions affect others. So therefore, we are actually doing teamwork. We're just not acknowledging it. We are a part of the all. We're just not acknowledging it. So if we can wrap our head around this synergy, which is interesting that this card came up. There's another card that came up as well. As we move forward into the more the mental aspect of correspondence today. As above, so below. As below, so above. I noticed last time I went into a very long thing about that because it's frustrating to me how people just drop the last part of that. Our actions even affect the galactic. Our actions affect Gaia. Our actions affect what happens in the cosmos. Our actions affect the different planes of existence. Our actions affect one another. It's very interesting that the world yet does not know that we're in synergy together all the time. The all. So let's read it again. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. A new reality. That's why New Earth Energy Market tagline is teamwork to usher in the new earth. It is us who will create that with the not so obvious, the never seen before, coming together, co-creating new reality, because all is mental, all is mind. Lovely. And the next card that did come out, because these two wanted to come out together. I don't know, happy Friday. This is nice. Number 33, Miracle. Oh, you are all miracles. I love it. Number 33, Miracle. The frequency of miracles supports our belief in ourselves as a part of Source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. Oh my gosh, guys. Here we go. That is miracle. That is you. You are a part of Source. Believe it. You are one with the all. And if we use the frequency of synergy to create a new reality, that is miracles. We're all miracles. This is so wonderful. These two cards actually are very complementary to each other. Excellent. Excellent. The belief that you are part of Source and that anything is possible, coming together in teamwork and unity to co-create a whole new world, new reality. Oh my gosh, I'm getting excited. I'm getting so excited. Oh my gosh. And I want to point out, look at all this purple here on Miracle, okay? Purple, third eye, crown, right? Crown. Really, we're trying to get to the star consciousness. That's what my patrons work on, right? All this purple, right? With the power source, like third chakra stuff going on, right? And then look at all the blue of throat and also water. Water, water, water. Water is the key, guys. Water is the key to building a new reality. It really, truly is. We will continuously talk about that in other areas. Good morning, Miss Teresa. So, yay, we're finally getting into it. I'm not rambling as much as I did last time. Oh, man. Yeah, I had no idea what I said, and I went back and tried to listen. I was like, whoa, a lot comes out of your mouth, Courtney. Good morning, happy Friday. So I believe when I finally got around to the Hermetics last time, I wanted to focus on the aspect of correspondence in the spiritual ways. I mean, I covered some generic basic stuff of the different type of planes. You know, you got the physical, you got the mental, and you got the spiritual, right? We're going to talk about the mental today, which is lovely that these cards came out. Belief and synergy. Love it. I will also tell you, I'm going to get into the Corpus Hermetica, and I did not prepare again. I did not get a chance to prepare. I got a phone call this morning that kept me preoccupied. But then when I went to the Corpus Hermetica, this is what I do, guys, to kind of prepare all of the 5 minutes I might have, is I'll take my book and I'll just ask, you know, my Lord's Master Guides, you know, higher beings, celestial beings of love and light, to guide me to the page that I need to be. That's what I do. Guide me. And I will tell you today, when we get into it, I opened it right up and I went, oh. Because at some point in my life, I wanted to take a bunch of the Hermetic stuff to break down what we refer to as the 7 deadly sins. And so I opened the page to where they wanted me to be, and there's tons of my writing all over it, and then this is over here, and this is this dimension, and that's that dimension. So remember, as we learned last week, oh goodness, everything will be a series eventually on here. Maya, real quick guys, in June, post having to go to Illinois, in June I am going to do a series on pyramids. I was supposed to do that this past winter. I got very sick. I'm going to bring that back up towards the late June. Oh, I missed that, Miss Teresa. I'll have to look at it. Post my going to Illinois in June, I will be doing a series about pyramids. Maya had asked about it in one of the comments. Also, it'd be good for people to know. And that series will most likely be long. I'll try to maybe just film it as I go and then deliver it. Because they go into everything. Hence why we find them all over the world. They are the most powerful. The most that we should utilize and use. So today we're talking about the mental plane of correspondence. Correspondence. As above, so below, as below, so above. That goes in all. So let's say we had, I'm going to try to use this. Okay. Let's say this is us. This is the stuff that's on my desk. Let's say this is us, the world. Our little sphere, or I don't care if it's flat, if it's a potato, if it's a sphere, I could care less what you think the world is. You walk on it, just care for her. But let's say this is us, right? Correspondence, by the way, folks, is as above, so below. It can also be as below, so above. It can also be as above, so below, as below, so above. There's many things happening. We tend to think it's just us. That is so not the truth. That is not accurate. But notice, regardless, for at least our existence of here on this plane, at least for us to acknowledge, at least for us to awaken up to, as above, so below, as below, so above, as above, so below, as below, so above, right? Regardless of how we want to see it, we are the middle ground. Regardless, we are the middle ground. So in many ways, like I was just saying, our actions affect so much. so much as we just spin around the sun. You beautiful suns, right? So much of what we do, as above, so below, as below, so above. You see? You see? And this is also why, beautiful beings, imagine if this was the Earth, because I just grabbed this off my desk real quick. Taurus field, Taurus field, Taurus field, going in, going out, going in, going out. Through us, that magnetic, that energy plane of that. As above, so below. As below, so above. As above, so below. As below, so above. We are the middle ground, and the energy here, as we are connected, us humans, to this plane. If you are in body, or if you are in human form, if you are in the human material, right? You are connected to Gaia. Period. Our energy is connected to Gaia's energy. Period. I kept saying it in the last video. We are here to help. So therefore, we control a lot of as above, so below, as below, so above, as above, so below, as below, so above. We are controlling that. And we're going to talk about it today with the mentalism of it all. I hope that little visual could help. Good morning, Joe. It's good to see you. So, with the material, oh, that's physical. Hold on. Oh. Briefly, we talked about the plane of the ethereal substance last week, briefly. And I went big into the spiritual. I want to go back to the ethereal substance, because that is where creation is. And you are creation. You are the miracle of source, right? You are creation. You are of source. You are in the ethereal and here, because there is no separation, right? The ethereal is where, once we acknowledge that our mind is actually creating all of this, what people like to refer to as the matrix, the all mind, right? That we're trying to get to with all these hermetic lessons of understanding all is mind, the all. The ethereal is where creation truly is. Same as when I have to talk about the Akashic. The Akashic, technically, as many people want to refer to it as, the largest database ever. What the Akashic really is that 0 point of creation, that center of infinite possibilities. You all are a part of that as well. Period. And the ethereal is as above, so below, as below, so above. We are creating all the time. We are connected to the ethereal as we are connected to the earthly plane. What we do and say here affects the ethereal, and the ethereal that is of the creation makes it down here possible. It's the ethereal is a difficult one to grasp, because people still, I don't know, we give our power away, like I said in the last video. We give our power away and not acknowledging that we are connected to everything. So there is no separation between us and the ethereal, between us and creation. Like the card Miracle. Let's read it one more time. 33, miracle. This is how miracles happen, by the way. This is how you are a miracle. The frequency of miracles supports our belief in ourselves in our individual selves, because it starts with self, as part of source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. This is how I can hold my optimism. This is how, supposedly, I guess they referred to it as taking the white pill. I take the white pill, folks, because I know of miracle. I know of the infinite possibilities. I know of the waters of creation, the waters of neutrality that with belief in the ethereal creates new worlds. I know of this stuff. So I did want to throw that out there because we're going to probably have to go back to it a little bit today. So let's talk for a moment about the plane of mineral mind, states or conditions, of the units or entities or groups and combinations of same, which animate the forms known to us as minerals, chemicals, etc. So this is talking a little bit about the physical planes, mineral, elemental, plant, animal, then into the human mind. So I wanted to just bring that up, that we go from like mineral to elemental to plant mind. So all of these have minds. Mineral mind, elemental mind, plant mind, another elemental mind B, category B, the plane of animal mind, another plane of elemental mind, and then the plane of the human mind. And we're going to jump to that. I will tell you, what's kind of sad is this book really, in a lot of ways, goes, yeah, most human minds, when this was written, when was this written? They kept, copyrighted in 1908, okay? So this was copyrighted in 1908, I think, released to the public in like 1912, another copyright and probably revision in 1936. So, when this was written, they do reference the fact that the majority of humans are still very close to the animal mind. So, unfortunately, that's what they were saying, 100 years ago. I'm happy that we've kind of evolved since then. We've grown, we're awakening. You are more than an animal mind. And animal minds are beautiful. We need them. They are a part of the all as well. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the conscious level. Maybe I do want to bring that up for a moment. Someone asked me years ago, God, it was years ago. They asked me about, are all the humans coming? Are all the humans going to be a part of creating the new earth? And I think I've mentioned this before here. And I've said no. I've said no. Not saying that they won't be there on the flip side later on. And this is going to be maybe a hard thing to speak about for a moment, but I guess I need to address it. A lot of those who have passed on these past few years, and we're not so out of the woods just yet. A lot of them that have passed on, and I had a master, a very beautiful woman, also discussed this with me years ago, who has also passed on. She put it in terms that it was their choice, that these souls made a choice, which I do believe, because I do believe it's our choice. We had already designed it that way. But it was because those beautiful souls, for whatever various reasons, those beautiful souls, they are here for the next round, when the true work begins. Okay? Those like myself, those listening, we are the precursor. We are the ones to get the messages out, the ones to elevate ourselves and heal ourselves, so the world can heal more so for when those souls come back and get the real work going, right? That's why a lot of us have lost people. with that being said, let's say from some time now, from now until we're well into the age of Aquarius, because we're not even there yet, and it takes more time. It's not like, so we got, well, now probably 2.5-ish years, let's just say 3, before we're actually into the age of Aquarius. And it's not like at the age of Aquarius all of a sudden everything changes and everything's great. It's not how it works. We gotta live through a lot of stuff to get into the meat of the age of Aquarius in order to make the new world, right? In order to create, in order to everybody understands the ethereal and their role and how everything works, how there is no separation and we do create. That's going to take some time. That's our jobs right now for the most part. However, it is for us individuals, right? One-on-one connections always work the best. So that's going to take some time. All those beautiful souls that are going to be passing in the next few years. I mean, it's going to be about 10 years of people passing. Young ones, old ones, lots of them. Not to scare us, but because they already made the decision that they need to be here for when the real work needs to happen, right? So if that can give you some comfort, hopefully that can give you some comfort. But it's because they're already going to come back with a higher consciousness. Because a lot of them were there, right? When the question was posed to me as to, are all the humans going to be just kind of walking into the new earth, creating the new earth? Not necessarily. There's going to be some that choose. There's a very old cosmic prophecy. I mean, this is some old stuff. I will talk about it at some other point. That the world is going to split. She's going to split. And it's going to be the lovely Gaia New Earth that, dimensionally speaking, for us, that will learn what 7D really is. Because 7D is tangible, remember? And it'll be like a split, the flippy floppy of the poles that we can control how this goes. That split, well then there will be like her red-headed stepchild, her stepsister, that in the cosmic prophecy ends up being destroyed, you know. That world is your Mad Max. That world is your Blade Runner. That world is not the world that we want to inherit. Like, that's not the world that we want to create, right? And within our synergy of working together. Exactly. So there are going to be people that's the world they choose. I actually know many very capable, conscious beings that's the world that they want. So that's their journey. Then we have a lot that are striving for the new earth, and consciously, that's their journey. And then there's kind of a middle road people that their souls still need to make a choice. And many of them, you can tell, is a conscious level aspect. Because higher consciousness is higher consciousness. So when we meet these beings that might be not of the highest consciousness of creation, that's fine, that's beautiful. It's because there hasn't been a choice made yet. And it does require higher consciousness to create, to be of creation, instead of just going with the flow, instead of just doing as told. So I'm sure many of you listening right now go, oh my goodness, that's a lot of people. Because people, they call them sheeple, which I wish that would stop. But that's how it's referred to. And we're all thinking, oh my goodness, that's a lot. We have time. We have time. And remember the Grand Awakening. The Grand Awakening has now opened. It's this May. Well, it was a little bit in April. And it is this May. And this May is for healing. 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 So then they can really expand of the Great Awakening. So there's still plenty of time. But is everybody going to come? No. Some are going to choose the Mad Max world. Some are going to develop and awaken to their higher consciousness. Some are just not. And that's okay. But everything is based on consciousness. Because remember, consciousness is frequency. Frequency is consciousness. All is mind. And that's what we're trying to get to with all this Hermetics. All is mind. All is your frequency of consciousness. So, that was another little lesson. Jeez. Oh, I can't even get to where I'm going. The plane of the human mind, in its seven subdivisions, comprises those manifestations of life and mentality which are common to man, in his various grades, degrees, and divisions. Now remember, we talked before with the correspondence and with pretty much all of Hermetics, to the height or level of frequency and consciousness you have is really Hermetics. Remember, it could be polarity and what side of the pole you want to hang out at. Do you want to be at the lower degrees? Everything is vibration because everything is frequency. Vibration, creation is vibration, right? That there are the lower degrees, and then there's the higher degrees based on your consciousness, based on your frequency consciousness, that, yeah, will they swing back and forth? Sure, but you could be swinging back and forth in the low degrees. You could also hang out in the higher degrees, 5, 7, right? Dimensionally wise, compassion, love, healing, self-love, power. You could be hanging out in that and swinging back and forth in those degrees, right? So when they start talking about the different degrees, I'm just reminding you that with correspondence, with polarity, with rhythm, with all of this Hermetics, to gender, which is a part of the Hermetics, you know, everything has masculine and feminine within them, energies. And I said, like on the Edgar Casey studies, that when I feel like I need to cut everything, you know, stop, you know, all of my abilities, or if I feel like life is too much, I allow the masculine in me to take over to basically, let's get all the jobs done. And let's just focus on the tasks at hand, right? That is my masculine energy. I allow it to be more prevalent. When I am one-on-one with individuals and doing my work or even just hanging out, oh, I am so much more feminine. Everyone has that energy, both of them within them. To what degree? To what degree? Everything is in degrees, right? Same with the frequency, the conscious levels. It's just a degree of vibration. It's just a degree of vibration. When I go to the Akashic, I have to do certain breathing techniques and prayers and whatnot to get myself to that frequency, to the ethereal. It's not, I'm just there. It's not. So everything is frequency, which is consciousness. Consciousness is frequency. That is the vibration then sent out, the vibration that we receive. Creation, you can see it as law of attraction. However you need to see it. It is all in Hermetics. The degrees, the divisions of them, and the different planes, it is all one and the same because there is no separation. I do apologize because I do realize how much comes out of my mouth. I'm really understanding how much I just start blah, 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 blah. Bless you all for following and taking it in and listening. Bless you all. You are such beautiful humans and beautiful beings, you lovely stars. I do understand now why people say, yeah, this is the second or third time I've listened. Because I just couldn't start going. So, the plane of the human mind in its 7 subdivisions comprises those manifestations of life and mentality which are common to man in his various grades, degrees, and divisions. In this connection, we wish to point out the fact that the average man of today accompanies but the 4th subdivision of plane of the human mind, and only the most intelligent have crossed the borders of the 5th subdivision. It has taken the race millions of years to reach this stage, and it will take many more years for the race to move on to the 6th and 7th subdivisions. Subdivisions are dimensions and beyond. But remember that there have been races before us which have passed through these degrees and then on to the higher planes. Yes, they have. We are them, they are us. I am as you are as I am. There is no separation. This has all been done many cycles. Our own race is the 5th, with stragglers from the 4th. Okay? Which has set foot upon the path. And then there are a few advanced souls of our own race who have outstripped the masses and who have passed on to the 6th and 7th subdivision, and some few beings still further on. The man of the 6th subdivision will be the Superman. He of the 7th will be the Overman. And I'll go into this. Guys, so when I talk about consciousness and dimensions, as they call them, subdivisions here, all the stuff that is talked about on Stars of the Morning Light you can apply to Hermetics. No matter what materials I'm working from, the Nagamati, the Emerald Tablets, Manly P. Hall, it does not matter. It can all be Hermetics. Everything. And I will get back to what I just read. In our consideration, the 7th minor mental planes, we have merely referred to the 3 elementary planes in this general way. We do not wish to go, okay, they're not going to go further into this, because they don't think at the time that this was written 100 years ago that people could handle all of it. But we may say this much. In order to give you a little clearer idea of the relations of these planes to the more familiar ones, the elementary planes bear the same relation to the planes of mineral, plant, animal, and human mentality and life that the black keys on the piano do to the white keys. The white keys are sufficient to produce music, but there are certain scales, melodies, and harmonies in which the black keys play their part, and in which their presence is necessary. There are also... Okay. This is the lower plane, the elementary planes. So, if we are of higher consciousness, we're not at the elementary, the kind of ground level, the 3D. So when they start talking about piano keys, right? It is talking about that polarity. It is talking about that black, white, positive, negative. Both need to be at play, especially in 3D. Both are always present, the yin and the yang, to actually keep the 3D in motion, creating symphony, right? It does. It has to. I understand how 3D works. And it's been working very well lately. It's been working overtime. It's how it works, right? Let's go back to what they said before this, though. Okay? But remember that there have been races before us which have passed through these degrees. There have been races of beings As above, so below. As below, so above. There is no separation. In time and space, it is just cycles that have passed through these degrees and then on to the higher planes. Our galactic brethren, that the only difference are angels, are what have you, other beings, all of it. It's just different cycles that they pass through the different degrees with their higher consciousness, frequencies, vibrations. They are no different than us. We just haven't gotten there yet. And then we will be them and they will be us, and we will be doing probably the same for another group of humans. It is how it works. Nothing actually ends. As we learn, energy never ends. It can dissolve into itself, which is what 3D will do. It can dissolve into itself, as we learn from the Nag Hammadi scriptures, but energy does not stop. Our own race is the 5th. Believe that or not. Our own race, and those who study Hermetics, our own race, human race, humans, humanity, they are now saying you are actually the 5th. You are actually, yes ma'am, Chloe, it can be transmuted. They are trying to tell you right now with that word, as I had just said, with going into our, is everybody going to come? Will there be stragglers? Is this why people are passing currently? They just said, our own race, us beautiful humans, is the 5th, with stragglers from the 4th. That's cool, man. Which has set foot upon the path. We are already on the path. Are there stragglers that are going to be in the 4th? Are there people that have not yet made the choice? Are there people that the Grand Awakening has not fully reached them and they keep bouncing from 3 to 4 to 5, 3 to 4 to 5? Because 4 is the choice. 4 is the letting go. Cool, that's fine. They are more than welcomed. But we are already on the path. And then there are a few advanced souls of our own race who have outstripped the masses. Those are your lone wolves. Those are the ones, and I'm going to tell you folks, in 2023, as I keep saying, by the end of 2023, so much of the human race is going to go through enough of the awakening process that they will stand in their power, make their stance, know who they are, and outstrip the masses. They will walk away. They will make that full choice out of 4th dimension and fully come into the 5th. It's going to happen. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And who have passed on to the 6th and the 7th subdivisions, dimensions. So, those ones, because we're already in 5th, we just deny it. We keep wanting to allow 3 to do its thing because we care so many about the stragglers in the 4th. I love y'all, but that's why. That's how it happens. So these ones, there's also some selective few. Understanding consciousness is frequency, frequency is consciousness, vibration is creation. That get through the 6th and the 7th. The 7th is the new earth. That is actually, it can be tangible. And some few being still further on. The man of the 6th subdivision will be the Superman. That is when you fly through the sun. You're more than capable. On the other side of that, that's 7. That is the whole new earth. That is the golden city. That is water. That is so much lovely water. And when I say fly through the sun, it's because onward and upward to the sun. Because on the other side of that is all new creation. It is the new earth. I'll go into that at some point. It doesn't necessarily have to be quote unquote fully that, but what it is the 6 is the understanding that you are more than you think you are. And he of the 7th will be the overman. What that means, overman, is that now, by the time you get to the 7, as we learned in Thoth a lot, by the time you get to the 7, you're good as gravy. You're in the new earth. You are now actually helping the stragglers of the 4th. You are now showing that you are a master. The ascended masters were in the 7th. Christ, Buddha, all of them. All of them. We're all in the 7th dimensional consciousness. This is how Buddha could be like, oh, you need to cross the river? Just, I'm here, boom, now I'm over there. What we think is all this crazy sci-fi stuff, we like to make it very sci-fi when it's science magic. Science magic, there's nothing that's stopping us from doing it, from being in one spot to another, that we call teleporting, and for some reason we think we need machines. We are the machine. It's just vibration. It's just frequency. So anyways, that's how we get, like I said 1,000,000 times, Christ, oh, you need to feed 5,000? Let me remind you, you're all capable of doing it with these 2 fish. Just do it, right? All of the masters, from beginning to end, even a lot of the galactic beings that had come down to help us, Thoth, he learned enough that he's building the pyramids and teaching us, right? All of them are just beings of greater consciousness levels, higher frequencies, and we can obtain it. There is nothing that makes us different from each other, or different from the masters, or different from any of them. There's nothing. There's nothing. So, now, the minor going into the 3 elementary planes. Remember, that's when we're talking about the yin and the yang still definitely has to be present. They are also necessary as connecting links of soul condition, entity states, etc., between the several other planes. Certain forms of development being attained therein. This last fact given to the reader who can read between the lines, a new light upon the processes of evolution and a new key to the secret door of the leaps of life. Kingdom between kingdom. The great kingdoms of elementals are fully recognized by all occultists. The esoteric writings are full of mentions of them. Okay, so before we go into the greater mental planes, they just said the connecting links. 3 is actually what is supposed to help you develop soul condition, entity states, etc., certain forms of development being attained therein. 3, as so many know, but for some reason they attach 3D to Gaia when Gaia is so much bigger and more powerful. Firstborn. 3 is actually our mental state creating it on her, poor Gaia has to go through it as well, because we are connected to her, is, as everybody likes to refer to it, as we are here on the earth plane of education, the earth school. The only reason we think that way and feel that way is because 3D is trying to teach us, with all of its yin and yangs. With all of its yin and yangs. And this is why many times I will say I don't stick with all of the Hermetics, because I've already surpassed it. Because some of it is still too black and white, us versus them, polarity, gender, all this stuff that actually does not exist in the higher planes. But for people to learn and understand and develop their gifts and develop their higher consciousness to eventually and forth let go and receive who you are, superhuman, that all needs to be present. It all needs to be present. So I'm groovy with it. I'm cool with it, because it needs to be present for people to build their higher consciousness. I will tell you, not all of the Hermetics is quote-unquote apropos to all of it. Is it present? Yes, to the degree, because remember, everything's in degrees. Everything is degrees of vibration and frequency. To the degree that we experience in 3D is not present in the higher consciousnesses, the higher frequencies, the higher creation. Is it still present? Is gender still present? Is polarity still present? Is all of this still present? Correspondence, is all rhythm. Are the laws still present? Hands down they are. Vastly different degrees. So that's what I'm referencing. So, oh, God bless all you people. Passing on from the great mental plane to the great spiritual plane, what shall we say? Okay, so now this is going into more of the spiritual plane. I do want to say, I'm going to go into the Corpus Hermetica, because I covered some of this last time. On the 7th minor planes of the great spiritual plane exist beings of whom we may speak as angels, archangels, demigods. On the lower minor planes dwell those great souls whom we call masters. I covered that last week, but I wanted to just go back to it real quick, because once again, this is all mental. This is all frequency. All of it. All of it. All is mentalism. I'm going to go to the Corpus Hermetica. Thank you all for sticking with me. The Corpus Hermetica, like I brought up, so I kind of went, bring me to where I need to be. And I flipped it open, I went, oh. I remember when I was obsessed with connecting all the dots there. I was once obsessed for, I don't know, a couple weeks of trying to connect the teachings of Hermetics to actually the degrees and to the degrees that are related to our what was referenced as the 7 deadly sins, so we can learn how to get out of any of those, right? So a lot of my markings in the section they brought me to is of that. I was kind of I don't know, it was some rabbit hole I started going through, guys. Something that, I don't know, maybe I'll go back to it at some point. So I'm going to start, so this is talking about mind. Because remember, all of it is mentalism. And the aspects that we've been talking about, gender, rhythm, correspondence here, all of it, polarity. It is just an aspect of the all mind. The all is mentalism. It's just aspects. It's the laws that we can work with to have the science magic of creation within. So, this is the Corpus Hermetica. I guess I'm just going to kind of start on 24 and 25 and kind of roll with what is being said. And I will tell you, a lot of this is going to talk about more of the 3D aspect. So I'll start on page 24, line 50. So if nobody's ever read this stuff, if you can see, this is a conversations. This is always going to be conversations and somebody writing what's happening, right? What's being said. It does read somewhat like Plato. It reads, it's not so easy to convey while reading out loud to people. Like I had said in the last video, and I might have to keep repeating, if you start going back into more like ancient stuff or like stuff like this, the way to read it really does need to be more of your eyes on the page doing it. And I know for many people it takes them more energy, more consciousness to do that. And even if it's just a few lines, I would appreciate, you can probably find it even on Google, right? And just do it on the computer, to just read a few lines to yourself here and there, because listening to me, listening to others, listening to books on tape is all wonderful. But I will tell you, I heard many years ago someone say, you are what you read, which is terrifying when people are doing nothing but reading news posts or ridiculous memes or whatever, right? You are what you read, which I know is, like I said, difficult for people in many various ways, okay? But it is still good to take a little bit and a little bit and a little bit as you go, because what happens is when you read, it's a concentration level. You are looking, you are reading, usually things are quiet around you. You might even have to verbally say the words out loud to kind of get it all going. That is a concentration level. Therefore, it's a meditation. So when I say you are what you read, it's because when we do that, it imprints itself into us differently, into our DNA, into our consciousness. It imprints itself differently when we read the words on the page, opposed to just listening, because it is a full senses of what we're taking in. It's an imaginary, it's conscious imagining what we're reading. It's a full concentration. Therefore, meditation, therefore, receiving differently. So I do suggest you can Google things and just read a few lines of any sort of what you're interested in, just because you are what you read. You really, truly are. Because so much of what we hear, see on the fly, all the subliminal messages, oh my goodness, I was passing out kind of the TV the other night and my eyes went like this and I saw the words that were being subliminally given on that show and I was like, whoa, okay. I started doing that when I was a kid and I was like, whoa. But my dad taught me what that was and I went, whoa. So everything from all the signs, all we hear, all the this, all of that, it usually just filters through to our subconscious that handles all the subliminal stuff and all that we take in, which is a lot in today's world. Our beautiful subconscious filters it for us and handles it, and it's the junkyard and the dump yard, and then it flushes it all out. That's a lot of what our dreams are, and it's doing it all the time. Thank God for the subconscious. Thank you for protecting my brain. But when we consciously read, the subconscious does not do the same with it. Does it go to subconscious? Of course it does. But it also goes through the frontal lobe more and gets imprinted more. So, I don't know why I went into such a deep conversation about please just read. if it's just a few lines here and there, and be conscious of what you do read. Be conscious of what you do read, please. Okay, so that was my little rant about that, I guess. Going into the Corpus Hermetica. He said, God and the Father is light and life. Is light and life, of which man is made. If therefore you learn and believe yourself to be of the life and light, you will again pass into life. If you therefore learn and believe yourself to be of life and light, you will again pass into life. I replied, but yet tell me more, O my mind, how shall I go into life? He replied, God says, let man imbued with the mind take heed, consider, and know himself well. I asked, have not all men a mind? He said, take heed what you say, for I, the mind, come unto men that are holy and good, pure and merciful, and that live righteously, and my presence is a help unto them. And forthwith they know all things, and lovingly they supplicate and supplicate the Father, and blessing him, they give him thanks and sing hymns unto him, being ordered and directed by affection and natural love. And before they give up their bodies to the death of them, they hate their senses, knowing their works and operations. I know everybody might be getting confused right now. I'm going to keep going. There's reasons why this is being talked about. Remember, this is going to talk about the mind in 3D. And do know, because of the time that this was recorded and all this was going on, it's very interesting. And yes, it was rewritten like all the other ancient stuff. There's a lot of very heavy religious words being used. But please go back to, good, pure, merciful. I want to be good, pure, and merciful. We don't have to use it in the same connotation that we would have in terms of like righteousness. Righteousness really does mean kind of God-fearing, right? God-fearing just means reverence for. So what righteousness really means in all words is not what the average human thinks. It means that you have reverence and for God, source, what have you, and you walk amongst this plane with that reverence in mind, with that love and intention in mind for all of humanity. That is actually what righteousness means. But now it's true definitions of words and what they mean has gone so messed up. So when we hear them, we automatically like, oh, the righteous. That's why it's like, oh, the righteous will inherit the earth, which also means new earth, by the way. People kind of, snip at that because righteousness has been used in abusive ways when it really does just mean that one reverence, they have reverence for source, God, Father, what have you, and they know that is their job here on the earth to show the same kind of love, pure, merciful, good, grace to their fellow man. But man, has that been abused and misused. So when you do read this kind of stuff, do know that the words may not mean what you think they mean. We got to go back to what they originally meant vastly a long time ago, and not attach any of our experiences to those words as well when we start reading this stuff. Okay, so I know this is getting a little tricky because it then says, and before they give up their bodies to the death of them, they hate their senses, knowing their works and operations. Rather, I saw what you put in there, Joe. The word fear didn't mean the same. That's how much our language has changed. Fear actually meant reverence. Yeah, that's how much. Think of how much our words have changed. That the word fear, that actually meant reverence when it was first used, now means a whole big different thing. That's how much. That's how much. It's interesting. Rather, I that am the mind itself will not suffer the operations or works which happen or belong to the body to be finished and brought to perfection in them, but being the porter or doorkeeper, I will shut up the entrance of evil and cut off the thoughtful desires of filthy works. But to the foolish and the evil and the wicked and the envious and the murderous and the profane, I am far off, giving place to the demon. Okay, I'm trying to think how much I want to go into this. Okay, as much a man ever ceases, having unfilled desires and unsatisfied consumption. Oh wow, I haven't read this word in a whole. See, this is what words do. Concupiscence. Wow, I have not read that in a long time. Concupiscence. And always fighting in darkness, for the demon always afflicts and torments him continuously, increasing the fire upon him more and more. I asked you, you have, O mind, most excellently taught me all things, as I desired. But tell me, moreover, after the return is made, what then? He replied, first of all, the resolution of the material body, and the body itself is given up to the alteration, and the form which it had becomes invisible, and the ideal matters are permanent and left to the demon, and the senses of the body return to their origins, being parts and again made up into operations. I'm going to keep going. And anger go into or unreasonable nature, the rest strive upward by harmony. So, I guess I'm going to talk for a moment before we go on. What is being said here is the life here in 3D can end up due to our senses, our bodily senses, that more animalistic that they were talking about when it was written in 1908 or what have you, that more people were more on the animal side of things, the ego, the carnal nature of things, that sort of thing, not higher consciousness. Definitely more so we're in at the Corpus Hermetica time, that our bodily senses, those things that we desire, those things that kind of take over, end up being more like a demon, right? And that it keeps burning us and fiery and fiery. And so before we die, giving up their bodies to death of them, they hate their senses, knowing their works and operations. So before we die, we go, this is why the whole regret, the whole I should have done this differently, I should have done that differently, I should have done that differently. And now we're into death. And then we're coming into, O mind, most excellently taught me all things as I desired, but tell me, moreover, after the return is made, what then? After death, and we're done living through all of our senses, not higher consciousness, but senses, very carnal, very ego, very animalistic in many ways. And then we die, and we're not happy about it because we lived a life more by our carnal ways, right? Our more animal ways. Moreover, after the return is made, what then? When we come back. So that's what we knew about reincarnation for a very long time. It had to be squashed for whatever various reasons out there and become more of an occult concept, because then there was more control over man. If you keep telling people that you got one shot, you better do it right, well then you have more power and control over them. First of all, in the resolution of material body, the body itself is given up to alterations. And the form which had become invisible, consciousness, soul, invisible, so the body is given up to alterations because energy does, our bodies are energy as well. Energy doesn't die, it just maybe is given up to alteration, it just changes. And the form which it had become invisible, right? Consciousness, spirit, we don't see it. And the ideal manners are permanent and left. Okay, the senses of the body return to their origins, being parts again made up on operations. So he's just trying to talk about reincarnation. He's talking about the body you're currently in, death, mostly because of the senses, because we allow our desires and our things that get in the way based on our senses to end up killing us, which, hello, we're still doing that. McDonald's kills us. All of our bad habits based on what feels good to our senses is going to kill us. I mean, we're still doing it. This has not changed. The body goes through its alteration, it changes form, the invisible consciousness, soul, right? Everything comes back, new body, right? Again, made up into operations. You're an operating being, right? And anger go into anger or unreasonable nature. The rest strive upward by harmony. So now they're going to go into... Let's keep going. And to the first zone, it gives the power it had over increasing and diminishing. To the second, and to the second, the mechanisms or plotting of evils, and one affects deceits or crafts. To the third, the ideal deceit, or what would be the word conspiracies now. The fourth, the desire to rule, an ambition. To the fifth, profane pride and headlong rashes of confidence. To the sixth, evil and effectual and gluttony. To the seventh zone, subtle falsehood, always lying in wait. Please hold on to that. At the very beginning, well, not at the beginning of this, not at the beginning, but somewhere in the mix, I'm hoping I did not confuse all of you when I started saying to the first, to the second, to the third, to the da-da-da. But here we go. As I said, because all is energy, all is conscious level, all. If we can see again that this is the earth, our lovely, beautiful earth. I opened it up saying correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above. Back to our middle ground, the earth. As above, so below, as below, so above. All that I just read is a part of the lower scales, the lower frequencies, the lower actual dimensional thinking and behaviors and dimensions that are still as below, so above, as above, so below. Every time we are in our 7 deadly sins that are attached to our senses, gluttony, pride, all of it, lust, falsehood, as they say, all of it, as we are the middle ground, does nothing but feed the lower vibration frequencies. And then, as above, so below, as below, so above, hence why it hasn't stopped. Hence why the middle ground is still experiencing so much of that life after life after life. We come back in our operational form, but yet all the senses pick all that back up. As below, so above, as above, so below. We have a choice. We do not need to keep feeding the machine. We can elevate our consciousness to start being as above, so below, as below, so above, and work in the higher levels. That is what they're trying to talk about here. I know. And maybe I'll just read one little bit more because I am going over. Thank you for being with me. I do want to point out, and Joe, darling, you can feel and think whatever you want. I did not mean to come at you like that. The word fear did actually mean that, though. It did actually used to mean reverence. It's wild. I'm kind of still stuck on that for people. Not the fear aspect, but the amount of what words used to mean as to what they mean now. And it is because of that. It is because of that. Imagine, just imagine, please, for a moment, humor me. If we took the word fear and put it back to what it originally meant, which was reverence. So imagine everything that we feared. Everything we feared. All we needed to do was turn it back into, like the card said, we are of source. We just have to believe. Reverence for self and the all. Could we imagine if we did that? That's why that word has changed. To once again keep you in your place. Keep us in our place. Imagine everything that we fear if we went, that actually just means to have reverence for source, for the power of energy, for the all, for God the Father, for, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Doesn't matter to me. Sun, Moon, Gaia. Three plus me is balance and completeness, right? Like, whatever it needs to be, complete source, whatever it may be. Could you imagine if we brought that word back to what it was supposed to say and start using it in that way of, oh, that just means to have reverence and to know that all is well. All is well. All is well. What a wildly different world we would live in. Reverence in Source has this, the All has this, I'm not going to worry about it. What an interesting world we would have. Hence why our language has been played with in so many degrees. Because really that's what fear is supposed to, that word is supposed to mean. Is to not, we're living in an opposite world with supposedly we think it means. And it's all because 3D, that's a very good tactic to use. But imagine if we did. I'm not going to worry about it because Source has this. I'm a part of Source. I'm not going to worry about it. I ain't got no fear because really, I just follow the light. Be very interesting if the world saw it that way. Let's go back to our card for a moment. Number 33, miracle. The frequency of miracles supports our belief in ourselves as part of Source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. I'm holding that card up, miracle. That we are part of Source, and anything is possible. Reverence for self and the power that we hold of Source, of creation, the miracle that is you, the miracle that is me, the miracle of all creation that is always at present. I do give that reverence, and therefore I live without fear as we know of it today. It's very interesting, the play on words in our world. And then being made naked of all the operations of harmony, it comes to the eighth nature, having its proper power, and sings praise to the Father with the things that are, and all they that are present rejoice. The congratulation of coming of it, the being made like to them with whom it converses. It hears also the powers that are above the eighth nature, singing praise to God in a certain voice that is strange to them. And then in order they return unto the Father and themselves deliver themselves to the powers, and becoming powers, they are part of God. This is the good, and to them that know to be desired. There it is, folks. There it is. This is for the death and the return. This is for, as St. Francis wrote, dying unto oneself. As Manly P. Hall talks about the Kundalini awakening and having to die away from, especially what happens in the root chakra to have the Kundalini awakening. All of it. To possibly take the word fear and bring it back to reverence, because reverence is this. And then, in order they return unto the Father and themselves, because a miracle, as you are, is Source, desires themselves to the powers, and becoming powers, they are part of God. So this is for the reincarnation aspect and the awakening aspect. But, as we said, as above, so below, as below, so above. And this is why I said in the last one, New Age brought in as within, so without. Because in order to die onto ourselves, to be of the powers that we are, die away from those carnal things, the ego, which does not leave you, but you can definitely use it properly to be the miracle of the source and power that you are. That does take going within, so without. That is why New Age added that to correspondence in Hermetics. So, as above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. The Grand Awakening, you end up knowing you are part of Source and the powers that be. I think that's where I'm going to end today, you beautiful stars. You beautiful, beautiful stars. I am so happy everybody was here. Joe, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you, buddy. Teresa, Shelly, Chloe, everybody that had come in. Have a marvelous weekend. Have just the most greatest weekend you can. And remember, don't take life so seriously, or you'll lose the point as to why you came. So, wait, say, what? Chloe, was that for me or was that for somebody else? Hold on, Chloe, ask it again because it disappeared. Before I leave, I'm going to make sure things have been discussed. Something about where does it leave you? Oh, are you referencing like if you can let go of a lot of the earthly matters and senses that are very carnal to man's physical and bodily mental stuff, right? Is that what you're referencing, Chloe? Because I do like to answer questions for you. For me. Where does that leave me? I don't know where that leaves me. I'm kind of questioning what you're exactly answering or asking. So if you've gone past the sense is thing, okay. So I think I'm understanding where you're going, Chloe. So like, if you do go, yes ma'am, okay. So if you go past it, well, good thing, Miss Chloe, because eventually, probably later in the summer, maybe August, I'm going to work closely with my patrons about removing that snake, right? So for me, I did use the Kundalini aspect of very cleansing the chakras and healing. So much healing, which is the energies of May, by the way, is to incorporate a massive amount of healing for oneself right now. So that is mind, body, spirit, all of it. I mean, May is the month of healing, grand healing. So to release that stuff is first to heal the damage, and then be able to open without quote unquote fear, like we use in today's world, to open up oneself to higher consciousness by having the snake move up. And this is all metaphoric, right, for the Kundalini awakening. But remember, as I have always said, that snake for Kundalini to open the third eye, quote unquote, so you can see more of the all. That snake does not actually remove the fears, quote unquote, right? I'm just using it in today's language. The fears, the trepidations, the darkness, it actually does not remove that from within you. All it's doing is opening your third eye for you to see that there is more. It does not remove it. It still is very present in the chakra system. This is how people are moving from 3 to 4 to 5, 5 to 4 to 3. We keep going as above, so below, as below, so above. Oh my goodness, 4 is a roller coaster, right? Is because that Kundalini awakening of great healing and releasing and obtaining a bit of your understanding through knowledge and experience as you are more in the fourth dimension of but kind of bouncing back and forth as that kundalini arises and you know more of your power. It does not remove the fears. So within that, what we do have to do, and I will tell you, a lot of the tribes, the ancient tribes and whatnot of, let's say, South America, like the ancient tribes there, they did know. Like, okay, this whole snake thing is awesome. We got it, it heightens our abilities. We have our, third eye open. In order to actually be fully, I'm trying to find the right word. Let me continue and then I might be able to find the right word. In order to obtain more so it's control over your senses of higher consciousness, more the overman, as we just read, is also a part of yourself. To get to more of a star consciousness, not the third eye. The third eye just opens you to understanding that there's more out there. Cool, awesome. We want to get to our star consciousness that opens you up to the fact that you are of source, you are of God, that you are powerful. We actually do have to metaphorically and sometimes actually physically in a way remove the snake, because all that snake does is it uncoils, moves up the spine and the chakra system, and then it's just a nice standing pole basically, right? It's opened you up a lot more, but that negativity is still there. It's holding your spine. It's that snake is still present and nothing has truly been fully released yet. So that snake metaphorically has to be removed. That is a bit of a grander gesture for oneself that I'm just going to say more healing needs to happen for those that might view this right now. This is more so what I will be talking to my patrons about later on, most likely definitely the fall, during the autumn, because we're going to just keep healing all summer and building our connections and building our own power within, so then in the autumn we can remove that together. When that happens, then you're living more in your star consciousness, which is the overman, which is the one that does not doubt that there is any separation, does not doubt that they are a part of source. The doubt is removed from getting rid of that snake, and doubt is really what is our biggest blocker as humans. So, kind of a big topic, Chloe, for me to finish out with. But yes, it is possible, it is attainable where most people are right now. And it's so glorious that right at the gate to the Grand Awakening opened in April, mid-April. We are just at the Grand Awakening for humanity. It is a miracle and blessing and beautiful that right at the beginning is the energies of massive possible healing on a grand scale for people, because healing is the first step. Oh no, Chloe, you're fine, you're beautiful. I love talking about stuff, I can go on forever. So healing is the first step. Healing enough to know how worthy you truly are. That's the first step. Because everyone, every being, every conscious, every vibration is worthy, is definitely worthy to know that their vibration and frequency is needed, that their vibration and frequency matters, that their vibration and frequency affects others, that their vibration and frequency is so beloved. That's where we're at. So definitely, definitely take in all the healing energy, and that is where that is where we're at. That is where we're at, because you are a miracle. You are, as I hold that back up. And what's great is the other cards synergy about people coming together, the teamwork never seen before. When we realize we are the miracles, when we realize within that miracle that we are definitely worthy of all greatness, all things, all matter of creation, well, then we come together and we start using our synergy magic to have it be. So, I didn't see what Joe had said. Joe, we always will accept you. We always, brother, wherever you're at, we love you implicitly. That goes for everyone here. That goes for everyone here. That goes for if people can resonate or not resonate. We are all the most beautiful stars, and everyone is welcomed. We embrace, definitely you, Joe, because you're much more higher consciousness than you give yourself credit for, my dear. So, I love you all dearly. I will see you next week. Tomorrow I will be releasing the Akashic Zodiac readings for May, and I know it's a little bit late. I've been a little bit backed up. Yes. So true. Thank you for being in the chat, everybody, because that's what it is. It is the back and forth of 3, 4, and 5. Back and forth, 3, 4, 5. Everyone is in a different place in their journey, but we're all, as a human race, on the path. We walk this journey together as singular beings, but together. And so we love and we appreciate and we adore each one. Each one. So, I love you guys. It's good to see everyone. Jules, I'm glad you popped in at the end, my dear. Much love to everyone. Have a glorious weekend. Enjoy the fact that you are a miracle and a part of Source. Begin to believe in the power of you, because there is no separation. You are the glory, miracle, wonders of creation. Thank you all so much. I'll see you later.